Fantasy Mania 2. The War on Valademkin City. Chapter 45. Soon Zoe heard a knock on his door. He was still wiping the tears from his eyes. He opened it and saw Allison standing there with tears coming down her face. She leaned in and gave Zoe a hug. Soon he just let it all out. And she did the same. She had truly felt his pain and wanted to be there for him. This was truly what a good friend was. But as for Blood Cry, well, things didn't look good for her either. They soon began to do some testing on her and had a few scientists enter the room she was locked up in. Blood Cry was getting tired of this. Day in and day out. Feeling like an animal. She knew they had killed her friends and wasn't able to do anything about it. She was actually being held in a secret facility somewhere else away from the city of Zwakata. So they had nothing to do with what they were doing. She didn't know where she was. But one day, they messed up. There was something they had to do that required them to sedate her and transport her to another room. This room was made so they could try to extract the formula from her body and use it as it was intended. But unfortunately for them, the medicine they used to sedate her wasn't enough. And at that moment, she was aware of things enough to do what she could to get away. And this was the first time she was able to use her ability to be invisible. They were totally taken off guard. And she unleashed the absolute worst they could have ever expected. Once she noticed they couldn't see her, she grabbed the closest thing to stab one of the scientists in the neck. Then shoved another into the wall nearby. She then pushed open the door and ran down the hallway. Soon several soldiers were deployed and she saw them. But they couldn't see her. She extended her arms with palms faced out and released a mighty blow of energy, causing them to be blown back several feet into the air and through the brick wall. She then activated her force field as protection and gave everyone there a hell of an experience. The entire facility was destroyed within minutes. Soon she saw the main guy that was in charge of everything and walked behind him. He could hear the sound of footsteps and turned around. Just as he did so, a long steel rod was embedded into his chest. Shen then told him to eat that motherfucker. He then fell to the ground dead. She then flew up, busting through the ceiling and up into the sky. Looking down, she began sending balls of fire onto the building, finishing off what had remained. She was now free. To be continued.